In this video, we'll be taking a look at decrypt and scan of HTTPS traffic, also known as deep packet inspection of SSL traffic or DPI SSL for an XG firewall. Before we get started, you need to understand what is involved with using this very important security feature. Here are some things to consider before using decrypt and scan HTTPS. Make sure you have an understanding of how digital certificates work with SSL communication between you and an HTTPS website. Understand how putting the firewall in the middle of this HTTPS communication can cause browser warning issues with users for every HTTPS website they visit. How to update user browsers with the firewall's self-signed certificate. That you know which firewall policies and zones you enable DPI SSL on. So why use decrypt and scan HTTPS or DPI SSL? Well, more than 60% of all websites are now HTTPS. The S in HTTPS means the connection to the website is secured and encrypted using SSL. Traditional HTTPS traffic traversing through a firewall is encrypted and therefore is not inspected by the firewall. Hackers know this. So to combat this, you must decrypt and scan HTTPS traffic. This is done using an old vulnerability as a protection mechanism called man-in-the-middle attack. As data travels between you and the HTTPS website, the firewall sees that in the middle. The firewall then breaks open that SSL session, does its normal traffic scanning to make sure there's no vulnerabilities in that traffic, and then encrypts it back up and sends it on its way. When connecting to an HTTPS website, that public HTTPS website has a digital certificate tied to it. The digital certificate contains information, keys, that allow you and the HTTPS website to communicate how you're going to encrypt and decrypt the data you send back and forth. A digital certificate verifies that the HTTPS website you are connecting to is real and has been verified and validated to be real by a certificate authority. In order to add the firewall in the middle of an HTTPS SSL connection, the firewall has to know how to decrypt the HTTPS traffic for inspection and then re-encrypt that traffic to be sent on. The connection to the HTTPS website with the firewall in the middle doing DPI SSL in the simplest terms happens like this. You request an HTTPS site. The HTTPS web server replies with the information keys that you need for exchange for the SSL session. The firewall sees this and replies to the web server like it's your device. The firewall then replies to your device as it is the HTTPS web server using its own self-signed certificate. Because your browser sees this self-signed certificate and that has not been authenticated by a certificate authority, you will see a connection not secure warning page. After you click through the warning pages, normal communication is observed for that session. To avoid this warning page for every HTTPS website you connect to, you need to import the firewall self-signed certificate into the digital store of each browser you and your users are going to be using. Importing the firewall self-signed certificate is key to using this feature. You can import the self-signed certificate from the firewall into each browser's digital store manually. However, this is not practical at all. Internet Explorer, Chrome, and Safari for Windows browsers use the Microsoft Digital Store on the device you are using. Pushing the self-signed certificate to these browsers can easily be done with a group policy update through Active Directory. Firefox and Safari for Mac OS uses their own digital store and can be updated manually or through scripts. Now I'm going to show you the user experience for both before and after turning on Decrypt and Scan HTTPS or DPI SSL. I am also going to show how to import the firewall's self-signed certificate into my browser, then end up showing how to import the self-signed certificate in Active Directory so it can be pushed out to all your users via group policy update. First, I want to log into the firewall and show that the Decrypt and Scan HTTPS option is not on for the Internet Firewall Access rule. To show the firewall access rule, click on Firewall in the Protect section of the left-hand navigation bar. Next, I'm going to click on my Internet Access rule and then on the Edit icon. Scroll down to the Malware Scanning section and you can see that the Decrypt and Scan HTTPS is not checked. I'm now going to switch over to my browser and type in www.google.com. See, I can access the website without any problems and notice how Google defaults to a secure connection with HTTPS. Now back in the firewall, I'm going to click on the checkbox for Decrypt and Scan HTTPS, which will turn on DPI SSL. click Save at the bottom. I'm now going to switch back to my browser and try to go to www.google.com. Now with Decrypt and Scan HTTPS turned on, I get the connection is not secure warning page. That's because I'm now talking to the firewall and seeing its self-signed certificate. I click through the warnings and I can now see Google's web page. Now I'm going to manually import the firewall self-signed certificate into my browser by clicking on Tools, then Options. Now click on Advanced and then View Certificates. Click on the Import button, then browse where you have saved the certificate. Click on the Security Appliance SSL certificate and then on Open. I'm going to click the checkboxes and then OK again to close the certificates window. Now that I have imported the certificate, in a browser window, I'm going to type www.google.com and I'm now able to see that page or any HTTPS website without any problems. As you've just seen, that would be very cumbersome to do for all the users in your network. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, you can use scripts to import the firewall self-signed certificate for Firefox and Safari for Mac OS. However, since most of the vast majority of networks have an Active Directory with a domain controller, I'm going to show how to import the self-signed certificate so it can be pushed as a group policy update to the Microsoft Digital Certificate Store for use with Internet Explorer and Chrome. Launch the Group Policy Manager. Hover over the default domain policy and right mouse click and then click on Edit. Click to expand out Computer Configuration, then expand Windows Settings, then expand Security Settings, then expand Public Key Policies. Now hover over Trusted Root Certificate Authorities and then right mouse click and then click on Import. Click on the Browse button to browse out where you have saved the firewall self-signed certificate. You may have to change to view all files to see the firewall certificate, and then click Next. Make sure that the Certificate Store field says Trusted Root Certification Authorities, and then click Next. On the Import Completion screen, click on Finish. You should now be able to scroll and see the firewall self-signed certificate displayed in the list of certificates on the right-hand side. On the next group policy update for your users, that certificate will be placed in the Microsoft Digital Certificate Store. Just one last reminder, for any firewall access rule that you want to turn Decrypt and Scan HTTPS on for, in the firewall access rule, go to the malware scanning section and click the checkbox for Decrypt and Scan HTTPS. This turns on the Decrypt and Scan and does DPI SSL for that firewall access rule. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you found it helpful.